What are some of those causes, or rather, what are some of those things that cause or lead to rejection? Why do you think then this word is a reality? Why do I get rejected? Thank you.
Unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic
expectations.
Tafadhali Mary tusaidie like one example.
Yes.
Like Nathan anaweza kuja aone a pretty girl. And Nathan is okay. He is well within his rights to feel like, okay, I can get that one. Naweza muingiza box. And then so anafika huko anapata vindu vichenjanga. So ana realize, okay, it's yeye alikuwa na ama maybe you go and you talk to a girl and then ameku friend zone, but you're heading somewhere else, and because you're not communicating, which I think is also another point, unakuwa na unrealistic expectations, and then you end up rejecting yourself. You end up hurting yourself because you did not, she doesn't reject you, she's just like, okay, misi kukua huko. So you end up feeling rejected. Does it make sense?
The act of refusing to accept.
Yes. Unakuwa in denial. So you're not rejected, you just ni makosa yako, ni ujinga yako, in short. So
unrealistic expectations. Thank you. We agree?
Yeah.
Kama we agree, sawa, if we agree with the point, we can. All right. Any other reason that might lead to why do we get rejected? Yes.
So I would say the other reason of being rejected could be lack of preparedness. So for example, you are applying for a job, but maybe you're not prepared. Is it prepared? Or let's say failing to meet requirements.
So we
based
can
on
say,
qualifications, yeah.
So we can use the word maybe unprepared.
Yeah, unprepared. Basically, you're unprepared.
Better English word. So you are what is that? Not underrated. Underqualified. Waingereza ama hata Sheng word that can capture that vizuri. Wakati hujatosha unga.
Hujafika bei.
Hujafika bei. But also the other one which you had earlier on said, you are not prepared. Unataka kuoa and you are not prepared, which has a very close attached to the unrealistic expectations. Thank you.
Yeah, you can also be rejected based on your class.
Based on your?
Class.
Class.
A class, yeah. And
class
then
2,
also,
class 3.
No, you are not of that class. That is, let's say, yeah, you are not of, hujafikia hicho kiwango. Kiswahili.
And that one becomes broader because classes vary and they come up of different spaces. Because
yeah, finally, before I finish, from I speak from the political point of view. You're rejected based on your age and their tradition of that area.
Kama una agree, so tunakumbuka. So age can be a reason why we are rejected. Either you are too old or too young, or you are too moderate. Unafaa ukue moja, either old or young. Basic requirements. So it falls under that as well. Thank you. Na hiyo ya kwanza yenye alisema class.
I wanted to interject.
Weka tu classes.
Before weke, I have a question. What do you mean by class? Does class exist? Because I feel like I feel like it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it falls under unrealistic expectations, because if like if you know your league, I don't believe, unless maybe in a different arena, in the dating arena, I don't believe that class exists, because you could be coming from a low class and then you could bag somebody mwenye ako considered high class, but it's about the expectations. What are you expecting? Because does class even exist? Maybe he can explain what class is.
No, I have a scenario, and I want us to
What
see
experience iongee?
Yes. Hiyo nini kuje hiyo serviette. I have a scenario. Few years ago, I was a rider, and being a rider, there was this lady. We were in the same church, and now, a few months down the line, she landed a job at KCB Bank. So me bado nilikuwa rider too. So this lady after now being oriented pale KCB, and so few months down the line alisongesha soko akadate the colleague now. So
Hata ukupewa memo.
hata actually it's a friend who told me, acha tu nikwambie ukweli.
Uliwachwa.
There was this scenario, I was trying to find her through the phone but hapatikani. So katika ile harakati nikafika kwake, nikapata best friend wake yako. So yeye ndio akanishow ukweli kwamba is now dating his immediate supervisor.
And I think
I want us to see that scenario. Is it a class?
trying to respond maybe to the aspect of class.
Yes.
I don't know if any of us, umeweka inini high sana. I don't know if any of us have had our parents say, usioe from a certain family, usioe from a certain community, usioe from a certain background or culture or religion. I would use that maybe as a view of class, not necessarily class in terms of position, in terms of power, money, but class in the sense of we view them in that given space. For example, when you say, I'm looking for a tall, dark, and handsome.
That's not class. I feel like that is preference. So your girlfriend had a change, like preferences zake zili change. Today I like light-skinned men. Tomorrow I like bald, bearded men. It's a change in preference. Today I like money. Kesho money inanifanyia maneno mpaka niko like acha tu tutembe. So I feel like that's a change in preference,
Tuongeze kwa
not
hii
class.
the word preference.
Hata when you say parents wanataka a certain class, I feel like that's just a preference. They're like, don't marry from that clan, don't marry from that tribe. I feel like that's a preference more than class, because when you start class is the English for it is going away, but I feel like it's more subjective, because kama umekuwa ukikatia dem, before you get rejected, it's never about class. But then the minute you get rejected, or even as a girl, if you've been eyeing a guy and then suddenly he's not very interested in you, you start putting it under class. Si ni ukweli? Yeah, I feel like unaanza kusema alijiona too hot for me, anaringa sana, and then you start putting him in a different class.
Allow me also to still clarify on class.
Yes.
And this one, still from the political point of view. You remember we had, when we were going for 2022, we had a class of royal class. And then we had the hustler nation down there, right?
So the rich visa.
Yeah, the rich visa. Yeah. And then number two, when you come to social level, we have the rich kid, and then we have the other
kid.
Yeah, so parents wa rich kid wanasema hatutaki mtoto wetu aende wapi? Kwa maskini. Those one happens. Those are different classes.
Of which I'm trying to help us realize, it is more of, I don't know if the word semantics will apply, in the sense, preference already speaks to a given mind view or standard. That is what determines the preference, which then we can also look at it now not as preference but as, For example, if you have money to buy a car, why buy a Mercedes and not a BMW? Preference. But you see, for someone who's out here, I will see and say, hey, her class is Mercedes, his class is BMW. It's preference, yes, but still falls under. That's why I'm saying semantics, in that you can look at it as preference, but still that preference speaks more of. He would want to buy a Dell. I like HP. My HP might be of a same quality level with your Dell. It's my preference, it's your preference, but someone else who looks at it might say, your class. So you see, you come in, make sense?
Ina make sense pasi.
So we are still looking at what are those things that leads us to be rejected, yes? But unaweza changia kwa hiyo mjadala ambayo preference, class, yes.
Okay. So my point is timing.
Time.
Yeah. For explain.
If you have an example or a point ni sawa.
For an example, kuna part of maybe in a relationship, sindio? That someone might not be ready for a relationship, commitment, such things. So, you know, someone can face anaweza jipata in that rejection. But si makosa yako, it's just bad timing. Yeah.
True, timing.
Yes.
Kwa tunasema kama you agree, you timing.
Eda.
First impression, how you present yourself. You should be intentional.
Na kama alikuwa anakuwa to himself or herself.
Hey, intentional.
First impression.
First impression. Yes.
Yes.
Tunakuja hapo. Vini na ongea fupi.
Vini chairman hapo.
There is also the physical aspect.
Physical.
Yes, you could be rejected based on your physical, maybe disability or something. Yes.
Won't that also speak back to the preference?
For example, because of kitambi, you are being rejected.
You can be rejected based on your character or behavior. For instance,
Character or
yeah.
behavior.
For instance, as a Christian, of course, if there is some thief, akuja kukatia utaingia box. So because of the character, yes.
Si andaa kuiba moyo wako.
Ai. Peni pasi hiyo bana, acheni hizo. Yes, anyone else? Rejectors? Maureen? Ndio huyu haya.
There's something Vince has mentioned in passing when he was saying body, physical appearance, and he said especially the plus size. I know now especially for the ladies hii inakuwa sensitive kidogo. Wanaume tunapenda vitu ma 1GB. Preference, yes. Sawa sawa. So, yes, Maureen.
We are continuing the another one. Time is also a factor.
So time. Fafanua labda kuna fiche la ndani ambalo unataka ku.
First, from Isaiah, at the right time, the Lord shall make it happen. So, you can be rejected at the workplace. Maybe you don't meet the relevant experience required. Also, in terms of relationship, the other partner anaona huyu amechelewa.
Mekaa soko sana. Mefinywa kwa sekta ya avocado.
Hii ni moto pasi. Unarejectiwa na scripture. Hey. The book of Isaiah.
So, time and timing is almost the same.
Yes.
And I think the way I'm picking it, either God's intentional timing or timing yako yenye wewe umekuja wakati mambo tu si yako.
Haya.
I can talk about, I think it's almost the same as one for our sister. It can be different in values and calls. Two people can differ when you have different life calls. For example, we can talk about a Christian, two people in a relationship. We have a Christian and somebody who is not interested in faith. So rejection may occur in such a situation. Yeah.
Lakini Mkristo unaenda kutafuta mtu wa imani nyingine ya nini?
Labda hakuwa anajua.
So I can say the two things. The first one is the past experiences.
Past experiences.
And the last is the fear of change.
And fear.
Paid ni huyo. The fear of change. Unaona, wisdom zimenyamaza. Watu wanaongea mingi kama mimi. Yes, Gertrude.
Thank you.
My point is competition.
I agree also with that. Company noma.
Simon amesema in a political view. Simon, lakini amesema not in political. Ile
competition general in life.
Tuseme wewe na nani mnakompetia dem fulani. Which is normal, healthy.
Unaangushwa.
Unaangusha. Unachaguliwa una reject.
Any other things that might lead to...
Yes.
From my point of view, one of the causes of rejection could be insufficiency, whereby, for example, you don't put up to the standards of whatever is required. So it is a point actually, but I think inaunganishwa na hiyo ya expectations.
Inaweza fall under the unrealistic or failing basic requirements.
So I was thinking, from the person rejecting, they are having unrealistic expectation of someone. But from the one being rejected, you're not sufficient. And
nice.
Tunaweza sema pia in ideas ama finances and any other thing that is required.
Nice. These are very deep, well thought reasons. Sijui kama unaanza kuona kwa nini kumbe ulikuwa rejected. Mimi nina take notes.
According to me,
yes.
There is a level of education. Maybe in relationship, you have other qualification, and the person is looking for a partner who is maybe amesoma vizuri, amefanya masters, lakini anataka mwenye amefanya degree. So that one may lead to a rejection.
You will master the art.
Still, I think it falls under the requirements.
Personal attributes.
Yes.
Personal attributes.
Personal
attributes.
Attributes. Goes back to a few will capture that. Physical appearance.
Yes.
Attributes. It could be part of that. At first impressions. Ama nina overthink. Yes.
No, I just wanted to add a point to the physical appearance. We could also have health conditions, mental state, etc.
They are all factors.
Yes. PWDs.
Mental health, ama?
People with disabilities, okay.
Mental health.
We have rejected.
Ndio mwingine.
Okay, last but not least, before then we try address the follow-up bit.
I feel like also culture is a factor. And I feel like preference may also come in under culture. Kuna point yenye preference itaingilia. And depending on the circumstances also. Maybe, acha nitumie mtu wa customer care. In, forgive me, maybe a remote area, watu hawaelewi English, and someone is needed that speaks the same language as them, or mtu mwenye anaweza fikiana na yeye.
Kama kuna wakati fulani nikikwathika, niko kwa matatu na naambiwa atiriri mudu wa nyumba lerambesha, sasa unashidwa
culture
after nimepata mkalimani. So among many others, and that word preference, I am feeling like it's a bigger umbrella which can be broken down to many other sub aspects of itself. Because now that I'm listening to us talk, and I realize like almost everything we are talking about has that sense of preference in it, of which denial, discrimination, betrayal, dismissal, refusal, all these things, and I don't know if we have fully exhausted the list. Communication. Wewe unasema left na unamaanisha right. So tukifika kwa junction, tuna reject because we anaenda left na we anaenda right. Communication. Yes.
Umechelewa.
Reject.
If I can explain, but in a different way, when you look at communication in terms of, communication is like me passing a message and then you being able to comprehend the message and then giving feedback. So sometimes not listening in a fall under communication, because you could actually be telling somebody that, hey, I'm not interested, don't go there. But then because they're not listening, either I'm not communicating in the right way, or they're not able to understand what I am communicating. It leads to somebody being either rejected or feeling rejected. Just sometimes you get rejected just because you misunderstood the situation. You thought they were giving you a green light, na kumbe they were saying stop, 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 don't come, and then you proceed, and then you get your heart broken. And I feel the same applies also in workspaces and every other place. Basically, somebody says it's not the right time for you to get a promotion, but you're not reading into it, because in your mind you've told yourself, see, I've been coming in early, I've been leaving late, I've been putting in this, I presented this project at the right time, and so I should be able to get that promotion. But kumbe, your boss is chini ya maji just telling you, hey, don't pursue this thing. But then you decide, my boss doesn't get it, my supervisor doesn't get it, I'll go to the higher person. Then you go there, then you get rejected, then it becomes bad, you start hating the job, you want to leave. So I feel like communication is also wide, it's just like preference, but then it's a whole thing, but it's one of the main things. And then he also said another point.
I said about lack of confidence. Maybe you've seen something you want, but you fail to approach it with confidence, then you are rejected from there.
Prejudice or preconceived opinions on someone. Yeah. Like, unaweza sema people are presented to do something.
Wakamba wanakuanga tu wachawi.
Yeah. Yeah. Mkamba hawezi kuwa pastor in that.
Muluya anapenda tu ugali.
Huyu hawezi okoka, huyu hawezi fanya hii. Yeah.
Mkamba na kamba, yani vitu mingi tu.
I had thought of one also. I don't know if this would go to our list, but I don't know if you remember when we talked about emotional intelligence. Could our emotional stability also be a reason of rejection? Which I know will read into some of the maybe past experiences, nini causes, upbringing, can cause an emotional instability. Examples of things like you always have an anger outburst. I always have a foul mouth, or I'm always negative because of my emotional. I also thought that could be, which I know again, most of the lists now kind of will start intertwining, one connecting to the other, one connecting to the other. And so, of the 10 and many others that might not have been listed on our list, if you're to do a small marking list, how many of these are the reasons why you will cut?
For example, mimi
Or how many are the reasons why ulikataa mtu? Out of 10 we can do a random sampling.